Hey guys, I asked about if anybody is interested in learning how to do these ringed circles. I found them very intuitive. I used some tutorial videos that had been made and I pieced them together in the way that worked for me because I like using prefabs. It's just the way my mind works. I find it very hard to use basic building and do creative that way. And so I'll link in the videos, the tutorials that I use to piece it together, but I'll show you really quick. So this is a 192 sided polygon or a circle. Each ring is adjusted to round the outside of a large circle, and this is what the finished product looks like. I have a new spot that I'm building 192 sided, and it's at the preliminary stage, and I'll just go warp to that base and I'll talk you through a little bit about the thought process that I used, and hopefully you folks will have a better idea on it. Just to show you what the base is, this is where I want to go, the water tribute, way out in Calypso. So, the 192, when I saw a couple of different videos from Beeblebum. First of all, his perfect circle video, it explains how you use the basic tile set to lay out your perfect circle. And when you're doing a ring, all you really want is the outside ring. I tried, with suggestions from my buddy Kail, to do cuboids because I use cuboids a lot, and the challenge is they don't lend themselves easily to glitching together at the end. And that's what this is. This is an advanced strategy. It's using glitch building adjacency and Blender glitching. I use them. I don't even really pay attention to when I use them. I just know what has to get done. So the way I first started and learned, figured out on my own, actually works whether you're in water or outside of water. The only time that would matter is if you're doing cross pieces. So here we are at the base. This is a very, very aggressive sentinel planet. So we're not going to hang out here on land, but you can see the structure gets done. Now this looks a lot different than what you see at the ring, the finished ring. This is laying the foundation. The whole point of this stage is to get electrical points around a circle, and that's what we have here. We're getting electrical points around the edge of a circle, and I've done this. This is a 16-sided, and I've done it 16 times. 12-sided, that's 16 times, right? 12-sided, 16 times. So each one of those is placed. It was done exactly the way you see it laid out in front of you. And then I had to delete it and then did it again. Made it out, glitched it. Blender glitched it to the center point where the center one is, slightly off, and did it again. And then did it again and did it again. This has taken me probably a good 10 hours just to get this set up correctly. The first time I did it on the other base, I actually missed a couple because I was rushing or I had stopped and I didn't check. That can be a pain because you're trying to line something that isn't set up. I use a slightly different circle method than what Beeblebum uses. Either way works just fine. This one was taught to me by Kail. I like it because there's nothing obtrusive about it. Now, how do you know how far to go out? Well, Beeblebum, I asked him about it, and he, through a message, said you use the pi, 3.14. So you take your sides. So if you want 192 sides, you divide it by 3.14 and get 30 something. Well, you'll notice I have 3 of these prefabs. 1, 2, 3. The floors. That's because that's the actual size of a cuboid. These small floors, or the big floors, are actually too long. I use this way because it's faster, less parts to build, right? But if you were to use the pavers, you'd have to go out 30. I think this is 17. I think it's 3/4, 3 to 4. So that means you need 4 pavers for every 3 floors to go out, and you get the math and you can do all that stuff. I've changed about 3 times on how I've laid it out. This is the fastest way, but the first time you're going around the circles, you want to make sure, because the walls can be so far away that you want to make sure that you know where they are, because if you're off, you won't know until later, and then it's really, really frustrating. All right, so that's that. Now, where are we at? Okay, we're over here. So yeah, I have you'll see there's a walkway above. That's to make it easier when I'm building the walls. So why do I do this? Well, I know, again, the build menu here. All right, so this here is the outer edge. I know that will lock in and create, we'll get to that in a sec. So how do we get that? We position it just with an adjacency glitch. We go over to a menu. I like to use it for speed, because again, you're doing this 192 times. You want to make sure that that wall right now is locked on the left side wall. It's now locked on the right side wall. You don't want that. You want it locked to the floor. And then you adjacency from the door to that one. So that's right in the middle of the small floor. Now I delete that floor and then I place a small floor for saving. The reason I do that is when you're dealing with such a big distance, right? I can see exactly what's missing or what's not. If I just had the small floor, I may not see it. All right, we're dealing with 110 U from the outside edge to the center, and then 110 on the other side. That's why it's 200 U across. It's a fairly big distance. Now, the next step after you get the outside edge is now you have to build something to glitch to, right? So the best thing, like Beeblebum in his video where he puts glass cuboids outside of water, his video he talks about using the cuboid structure. Now, I have done that as well. All right, you can see that here. Now the reason I brought it in 1, 2, 3. So I brought it in 1. That's the outside one. 1, 2. Yeah. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. Okay. The reason I did that is because of the way it lines up. If I were to just glitch, all right, let me show you here. Once you have that done, the actual doorways are not important. What is important is you need something to glitch to, right? So what I find easiest for cuboids is I have this door, which doesn't work underwater. So I use this door to glass. Hence you'll see the adjacency of the glass cuboids here. All right, that's what I use. Now, how do we get something to glitch the hollow door to? Well, what I use is I use small door, but that won't accept the hollow door. All right? But what does accept a hollow door is a paver. Or sorry, a wall. So we adjacency. And I'm going to do it this way just to show you. You'd have to do this 192 times around the outside of the circle. We're just going to do it once just to show you. Alright, so we go from here to here. So on the edge, you do adjacency glitch from there to there. And we place the door, or the wall. So we do that again. I'm going to do it on this side just to show you what can happen. Alright? And what you have to be aware of. So that's there. Now, when you do the ones like this, okay, you have, that's now attached to the left side. That's in center. And that's in the right side. This takes a lot of time and work. You want to make sure that the wall looks like that. It's almost straight because that's what we're doing. All right, and then to move to the next stage, all that we got to do is to adjacency from there to the glass. From there to, place the door. From there to the glass. And that's how you want it set up. That's what you want it to look like. Because now, what do we have? We have an electrical point to take that point to that point to glitch it that way. And that's how it's done. All the way around. Because the walls are slightly rounded, every door, every glass cuboid or as glass corridor will slightly be off. Now, if we look at this, you can see the gap here. Now, if you look inside, it's through. It's passable. There's nothing stopping it at that point. See there? Now the bends, that's good. But what isn't so good, if we're putting it in water, is that gap there. Right? And this can take some adjustments. This is not the first time. I actually I glitched onto these ones here. These ones are, this was where the original side that I did, the original one. This one was one out and it was a little bit better. But if we look at this one here, it's virtually centered closed on. So this is the distance out, 3 back. 3 small floors back to get a perfectly enclosed circle. All right, so that's how the cuboid works. Now, when you're ready, you can make changes on this. If I wanted to do this, and then I wanted to put in here, if I wanted to adjust it, these ones can be difficult. They're not impossible to use, but they can be difficult. The tries, they can be really challenging. If you're going to do a T-junction, just use the quad. See, because what happens is when you put it down, you place the wire. What happens is they'll center themselves correctly. Oh, I can't even do it. Come on. Blender glitching is tricky. I'm on PS4. See, so it goes like that. And you can see if you go inside, it works just fine. No issues. And then you can add off corridors off here. Now, the add corridors off here, my buddy Pharaoh has methods that he has videos for. I'm sure you could try doing it. I have ideas for what's going to happen with this circle, so I'm not going to worry so much about that. All right, so that's the stages you use to get to the circle stage. I do not recommend taking down the cuboid structures until you're for sure. If you want to do double circle, like if you've seen my base, the one on Esatam, the cave base, I didn't do this every time I did a circle. Because I use cuboids, all that you have to do is take a cuboid. I use this because glass is it's expensive. It's a resource intense, and you just drop it down. And then to save resources, when you get to the height you want, you delete. the ones. Now, when you're doing that, you have to be aware that as you're placing them down, they will try to bond to each other. So you have to keep see, now this one here wants to bond. He wants to join to both of them. So you have to, one or the other. So you have to make sure that the angle at the back is right. See, now that one is attached. See, I didn't get that one right. So we have to bring it down, and we have to make sure that it's glitched to. Yeah. So you have to make sure that they're glitched right. This is pretty much straight. This is really straight. As if you do 64 or something like that, it's a lot cleaner. This is a 192. I do not recommend 192s. I did it because I'm crazy. It's a lot of work, a lot of resources. What do I mean by resources? Well, here's my freighter. That's not enough to do one ring. I will have to grab more crystal sulfide. I actually have crystal sulfide locations where I have them waiting for me. It's very, very intensive, so I don't recommend them if you really don't want. 192s are big. I'm actually doing this double 192, so it's going to have a lot of glass and crystal sulfide needed, a lot. So if you have any questions, just pause. Like I said, this is the short of it. What you want to do is you want to grab the circle diameter from Beeble Bum, however long you go out from the center, out the way you can use pi 3.4 divided by the number of sides you want to figure out how far out you want to go. Once you get out there, you leave one spot, leave a ring around the outside, and then when you work back to the center, it's going to be 3/4 of the distance will equal how the cuboids will open up to each other. So if you have 10, right, for a 64-sided or 11 for a 64-sided, they'll open up around 7.5, 8. So you have to work backwards to get to that spot, right? You can't put it out that way because you can't leave stuff there, because then you're interfering with other lines going out from the center. That's why I do it that way. That's why I've adjusted this. This is, if I were to do this proper, it would be 30 floors out. It's 17 and 3 pavers, so it's, or 27 and 3 pavers or something like that. Sorry, I got a bunch of numbers. It's 27 pavers plus 2 floors. Anyway, it's big numbers, relatively speaking. So you want to make sure that you know that math before you start. Then you do the floors out, leave the ring on the outside, put up when you get test out, try to figure out which works best for you for how the cuboids open up by using a wall, short wall to a large wall, and then go from there. All right, because you want to fit the cuboids so that they look like that, right? That way, so they're opening up, and then you want to use the electrical point on the cuboids, just like Beeble Bum teaches, to open up the cylinder around in a circle. There you go. Okay, hope that makes sense. I'm not here to teach all of the things like blender glitching and all that other stuff. I'm assuming that you know how to do that if you're watching the video. I'm just here to help show you how I took what is already out there, which I will link, like I said, in the description, how to use it to get cuboid rings in a circle. All right, thanks a lot, and I guess I'm going to make another video. This base is not finished. I have more stuff to do, so I will do that and share steps along the way that I think is important, or if there's any suggestions, if people ask, I can clarify. All right, thanks a lot.